Assalamu alaikum, guys. Assalamu alaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Alhamdulillah. Jazakallah, you guys, for coming through. Inshallah, we can have everyone move to the front. I see some seats open on the sister side. Not to call. We are recording. We can have this. We can use this one. Okay, if you want to walk around. Alright, guys, we're gonna start. Bismillah. Alright, guys. Alright, guys. Testing. Can everyone put away your phones, give full attention to the speaker and to the MC, inshallah. We want to, show our respects and gratitude to Sheikh Yusuf, who came today for our session, inshallah. Alright then. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen. Wassalatu wassalamu ala Sayyidil Mursalin wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajma'in. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Thank you all, Jazakallah khair, for joining us today. My name is Kausar Rahmat, and I will be moderating this session today. Welcome to our session, Setting Sail Using Your Moral Compass. Massive thank you to our sponsors and to Muktamar planning committees, IMSA and MISG, for organizing Muktamar this year and making sure that we are connected and reach as many of you as possible. We are grateful for all of you attending and to every person who played a part in developing this session. Before we begin the session, I'd like to introduce the event and our goals for today. To provide some context for today's session, titled Setting Sail Using Your Moral Compass, this session guides you through the transitions of growing older, exploring responsibilities, identity, and navigating life's challenges. Through a coming-of-age discussion, participants will reflect on intentions, purpose, and handling challenges. We'll emphasize resilience and understanding one's morals while navigating life's evolving currents as youth. Before I hand it off to Sheikh Yusuf, I wanted to kind of introduce him. So, Usaid Yusuf Shah Masood is a proud member of the Phoenix Muslim community, having grown up in Chandler. He currently serves as the director of the development of both ACA, the only K-12 Islamic school in Arizona and Greater Arizona, the largest scholarship provider for Muslim students in the country. In addition to his development and scholarly work, he is active with MOVE, M-O-V-E, MAS, and many other local organizations and masajids. Usaid Yusuf is a first graduate of Zaytuna College from Arizona, the only Muslim liberal arts college in the United States of America. Inshallah, I will lead it off to Sheikh Yusuf to continue the session, inshallah. Jazakallah, Sheikh.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين ولا عدوان إلا على الظالمين والعاقبة للمتقين اللهم صل وسلم وبارك عليه وعلى آله وصحبه وسلم. Sisters, if you could come closer, we have 2 spots here, 4 spots there. Don't worry, I won't bite. Inshallah. Come, bismillah, bismillah. So you're telling me this isn't the marriage talk? No. Oh man, okay. I had a completely different talk planned. No, I'm kidding. I think you guys are a little too young. Okay. Bismillah. So that was a really long bio. I don't like long bios. If it was up to me, it would start with Yusuf was born at a very young age. You got the joke? Yusuf was born at a very young age. Were you guys born at a young age? Alhamdulillah. It doesn't matter how old I am. I was born at a very young age. Alhamdulillah. So, Bismillah. So this talk is about setting sail. It's a lot of ship metaphors. You guys know what metaphors are? It's all about like sailing and ships and oceans and things like that. What were your talks before this about? What have you heard so far? Is this your first talk today? Oh, really? What are you guys up to the whole day? So, this brother over here was sleeping, so this is his first talk for the day. No, I'm kidding. What talk was, I'm just curious what talks you had before. Identity, okay, interesting. Identity, that's an important talk. Oh, is that with Ustad Honest? Yeah. Okay, cool, mashallah. So, this talk is this idea, I don't know if you guys read books, I hope you do. I know there's a lot of brain rot and all that stuff, so. What's a book, exactly? You guys do watch movies though, right? Okay. So there's this idea in books and movies of a coming of age story. that basically, the hero is young and they do some kind of adventure and they come of age. They kind of become who they are. For example, how many of you watched The Lion King? Lion King? It's one of my favorite movies. It's a really good movie. Is this working? Yeah. So in the Lion King, Simba is the son of the Lion King, right? The Mufasa. Everything that the light touches, like the whole idea that this is all his kingdom. But he's not ready to be king. He sings that song, right? I just can't wait to be king, right? And he's just like, he wants to be king, but is he really ready to be king? He's not. And then what happens to him? What happens to his father? He gets killed, basically. He doesn't just die. His uncle, I hope I'm not spoiling. Who hasn't watched The Lion King? Okay, good. You guys have all watched it. Okay, alhamdulillah. I don't want to be spoiling anything. So, he gets murdered. And then what happens to Simba? He gets very lost. That's like when he's like basically your age, He's like a teenager or just about to become a teenager. And he's just like living his life. He's having a good time. Hakuna Matata, all this stuff, right? You guys all know the song. Should we just sing it together? Is that what you guys want to do? Kidding. Okay, what a wonderful phrase. So, Lion King, but he realizes that, after a while, Nala comes back and he meets Nala again and he realizes, like, I'm living what we call a hedonistic life. Everything is fine. I'm just going to have fun, enjoy all the pleasures of the world, eat however much I want, all that. He's living that life. And sometimes as Muslims in America, we look at people who are just living the life, right? They're, they have as much money as they want. They're influencers, right? You guys know influencers. I hope you don't follow influencers. Mr. Beast, right? They look like they're living the life, 50 million subscribers and this many views and all the money that they could want and Feastables and all that stuff, right? Do you guys like Feastables? Anyone? It's not good. It's not good. Hershey's is better. Hershey's is actually better. It's like the same. Okay. I'm going to start a flame war. So, basically this life of just pleasure, right? Is that really the life? Because, Simba's kind of just like, this is not it, right? And he realizes the kingdom is burning down, right? Things have gone bad. My father is gone. He was so traumatized by that moment. He just ran away. Does this sound like a story in the Quran? Can you envision a story? Imagine a young boy who grows up in the palace of the king. Musa alayhi salam, right? Think about it, right? And then, look, these stories are good. I'm not a huge fan of Disney. We're boycotting Disney anyway, right? We're boycotting Disney. But what I want to say is that, don't think Disney comes up with these stories. They're just repackaging old stories, right? And some of those stories are biblical, are Quranic, are ancient stories. And why are these stories so powerful? Because they're true. These are based in reality. They're just making, instead of a person, they're making it a lion and all this stuff, right? Musa alayhi salam, he has to run away from the palace, right? He grew up in the palace, he has to run away. At some point, he realizes the oppression, how bad it was. The kingdom is falling apart, right? Or it's being ruled terribly and my people are being oppressed. Right? Simba realizes this as well. His own mother is being oppressed, all the, the lionesses and everything. And he comes back. And then he has to do what? He has to fight Scar and his hyenas. Yeah, Fir'aun. He has to fight. He kills Scar. Now, of course, it's a little different. But again, you see the parallels? This story in the Quran is a coming-of-age story. Simba comes of age. He becomes the Lion King. Right? He goes through that process. Musa alayhi salam, same thing. Yusuf alayhi salam, you know the story of Yusuf alayhi salam? Same thing. He's in the well. He's put into captivity. He becomes a slave. He's enslaved in the minister's house. And then he goes on to go to prison. That's a coming-of-age story. I'm going to share this in the big session later. You guys might not attend that. But to me, do you guys know Dawood Wansby? This amazing nasheed artist. And he has these beautiful lines. He has a song called The Beautiful Story of Yusuf. And it's so powerful. I remember the words. When I was your age, I learned them and I still know them, right? How does it go? Accused and abused, he was stolen away. No justice exists with no law. Like the prophet Yusuf, he was thrown into prison, but they couldn't shake his faith in Allah. The guards what is it? The guards laughing in the middle of the night. Something. But anyways, the sorry, I'm forgetting it now. But basically, he says he spent his hours in quiet worship, in the silent jihad for the truth. You know, he was basically graying away his youth. I love this word, graying away his youth. What does that mean? He's a young man. He's graying. He's getting older. His hair is becoming white. And where is he? He's in prison. Think about how lonely he was. Years in prison he spent. He went in as a young man. His hair was black. Maybe he had a small beard. Now he's like graying, right? But what's he doing this whole time? He's worshiping Allah, right? He's searching for the truth. That's a coming of age story. All of these stories, I can name many, many, many stories in the Quran. It's a coming of age story. And what I want you guys to understand right now is you guys, how old are you? 12, 13? 12, 13, right? 12, 13. Maybe a little older, maybe a little younger. You guys are about to come of age yourself. You guys have that story to live yourself. You're going to have your own story, and your story is going to be different from everyone else. It's going to overlap with your friends and family, but it's going to be your own story. And this is the story that's happening right now that you're going to see on the Day of Judgment. Allah's going to show it to you again. This is a really, really important time of your life. You're going to come of age. And right now, you get to decide what kind of person you're going to be. Like the decisions you make now will determine what your life is going to be like. Does that make sense? What kind of life do you want to live? What do you want to accomplish? These are things you have to decide now. You have to learn now. So there's this idea of you're about to set sail, right? That's why the title is Setting Sail. What does it mean to set sail? You're going to leave your island. You're going to leave your home and you're going to go out into the ocean, right? The ocean is a very big, scary place, right? If you don't know how to swim, are you going to do very well? If your ship isn't fortified, if it's not strong, if it's not well built, what's going to happen? You're going to sink. You're going to sink. This world is a very difficult place for a lot of people. But the thing is, you can't ride your parents' ship forever, right? You can't ride, the ship. You have to build your own ship. Nuh alayhi salam, for 950 years, he was preaching to his people. And then what happened? Allah told him to build a ship. And then there was a great flood. You guys all know the story. Great flood. Did people survive that if they weren't on the ship? They didn't, right? Even his own son was like, I don't want to go on your ship. I don't want to follow your message. I'm going to go up to the top of this mountain. What happened to him? He drowned. So Nuh alayhi salam, and keep in mind, this is a prophet. And you even see even prophet's son could not be great. Yusuf alayhi salam's brothers, they were all prophet's sons. Yaqub alayhi salam's son. They're the ones who threw him into the well. So just because your father or your parent is a prophet, does that mean you'll be okay? No, right? But Nuh alayhi salam built this ship, and this ship saved the people that were with him. And so it's time for you guys to think about, you're going to start building a ship for yourself. You have to build a ship. It has to be a strong ship. And you're going to go out into the ocean. And in order to sail the ocean well, you need a couple things. You need a strong ship. What else do you need? The ship has to be solid. You should know how to swim, just in case. What else? What else do you need if you're on a ship and you're trying to go somewhere? Where are we trying to go? Where are we trying to go? Jannah, right? Jannah. We're trying to go through life. We want to have a good life, and we want to go to Jannah. We want to have a good life and a good end and go to Jannah. Now, will everyone make that journey? Will everyone make it? No. A lot of people will drown. And honestly, when I look out, and maybe you guys, how many of you go to a school where there's no Muslims? Okay, mashallah. There's a handful of you. I went to school and there were like no Muslims, the whole school. Okay? When I see people now, I feel so bad for them. A lot of people are drowning. You guys have community. I mean, this is beautiful. How many, is this your first muktamar? Third? Already? Mashallah. How old are you? 12. And you've been to 3. This is my first. Alhamdulillah. But how beautiful. You have this community. You have people that are like you, that speak your values, that speak your language, that you get, you understand. How many of you know everyone in this room? Everyone? Okay, mashallah. How many of you know a lot of people in this room? Like maybe 2 or 3 or 5? Yeah. You guys aren't doing alone. There is this famous saying. It's an African proverb, okay? I want you to memorize it. It's so beautiful. If you want to go fast, go alone. Okay? If you want to go fast, go alone. But if you want to go far, go together. If you want to go far, go together, right? We want to go to Jannah. We want to meet Allah. And the reality is, when we're standing before Allah, is anyone going to be there with us? Is anyone going to help us? Parents, friends, family? Nobody. No, not our teachers, not our children, right? But when you get to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, you will stand by yourself. But inshallah, because of the people you're with, you will go really far. You know, you can encourage each other to do good and things like that, right? So on a ship, you need to know how to swim. You need to have a strong boat. What else do you need? There's one more thing you need to get to the right destination, because there's a lot of places you could go. What else do you need? A map, a GPS, a compass to know the right direction. You want to go north. You want to make sure your aim is true. And so this is one more thing that I want to spend a few minutes talking about. And again, I don't want to talk too much. You guys have been hearing people talk. I want to hear from you guys too. But there's this idea. Is that a calculator? Oh, that looked like a calculator. Inshallah. And I'm not calling you out. I'm just that you're on a calculator. You need a compass. And in life, we need something. And this is kind of what you're starting to get now. I'll tell you, I was at the store the other day getting some candles for my wife. I was trying to get something nice for her. And there was this like flower thing. And I put the candles inside and I go to the checkout. And then I'm like, oh, I reminded the cashier that, oh, these candles, they're not part of it. They have to pay for them separately. Does that make sense? Like there's this container and the candles are in, and if I'm going to the checkout, they might think that this is all one piece and just pay the 15, 20 bucks or whatever it is, right? But it's like, no, these 3 candles are all separate candles. And the person was like, oh, I didn't realize. And then he checked them all out. My wife is telling me a similar story. She went to buy some yarn. She likes to knit or whatever. And she went to buy some yarn. And the lady, she, instead of 3 yarns, she did 1 yarn. And then she left. And my wife literally drove back to the store and was like, this was 3 separate. And you didn't charge it. And the lady looked at her like she was crazy. It's like, what? Like, I gave, like, you basically got all 3 of these and you're coming back to the store. The lesson here is other people might have just be like, oh, I got these for free. I'll just leave them. I'm not going to be honest, right? But I did that. And my stepson, he's 9 years old. He's almost your age. He was with me, and I told him, I could have gotten away with this, right? And he's like, what should I have done? And the right answer is you're honest about it. Why? Because I told him I could have saved $20. $20 could buy me a lot of Feastables, right? But what happens in life is that if I chose to cheat that person and not be honest, and I didn't tell them that these were all separate, then what could happen is I could have been driving and then I get a flat tire and I'm spending $800 to repair my tire. Does that make sense? So I like this word that you mentioned, karma. Where does karma come from? Do we believe in karma as Muslims? Karma is a Hindu concept. Okay, it comes from Hinduism. But in Islam, we don't call it karma, but we do believe in this idea of justice, of retribution. And the difference between Hindus, I don't know if you know, but basically they believe that you live your life, and if you live a good life, you get good karma. You get reincarnated, and then you'll either be better or worse. So if I'm really bad, I might be reincarnated as a trash can or a camel or something. And if I'm good, then we don't believe in that. But we do believe in this idea that everything that you do, good or bad, will come back to you. It will come back to you in this life or in the next. Someone might get away with something. There's some tyrants in this world, like some really, really bad, evil people in this world. They get away with it. Sometimes they don't. Fir'aun got away with it until the very end, right? Other people do get away with it. There are stories in the Quran. You're like, Surah Buruj. How many of you know Surah Buruj? Okay, some of you know the surah. What happens to the people in the surah? The people of the trench. Do you guys know? Yes, go ahead. Exactly. The king literally digs pits of fire. Pits, like trenches, and then burns and throws the people into the pit. And in the Quran, we don't know what happened. Like, we know these people, we don't know what happens to the king. Maybe he gets away with it. Maybe he lives a long life, right? Sometimes they get away with it, sometimes they don't. Fir'aun didn't get away with it. This guy did. We don't even know his name. But the thing is, it'll always come back to them. in this life or in the next. And so this is really important. You guys, this idea of a compass, right? Having a compass, knowing what's right, and recognizing that if my compass is off, then I'm going to do something wrong. And one thing I want to tell you guys is sometimes you feel like you need to ask people, what's the right thing to do? You might go ask your teacher or your parents. But you guys are getting to the age where you might stop asking. There's still always times to ask people. I still ask my teachers about some things. But there's a lot of things you just know if it's right or wrong. The Prophet ﷺ, one time someone came to him and asked him a question. Okay? And what did the Prophet ﷺ tell them? Istafti qalbak. Consult your heart. The Prophet ﷺ told this person, seek fatwa from your heart. Like instead of, this is the Prophet of God, he's not going to answer the question. He's like, no, you ask yourself. What do you think? Right? Ask your own heart. But what's interesting about this is in order for you to consult your heart and get a good answer, you have to have a sound heart. Okay? So the last thing I'm going to share before I open up for Q&A is this idea. And I want you to pay attention to this, okay? Your heart, I'm not talking about your physical heart, the one that beats, right? I'm talking about the spiritual heart that you have, okay? Your spiritual heart allows you to know right from wrong and allows you to have a relationship with Allah and to love being Muslim and being proud of your identity, all of that, right? The thing with the heart is like a mirror, okay? The heart is like a mirror. And what do mirrors do? They reflect. And so the heart is a mirror that reflects the beauty of Allah. Allah is beautiful, like beyond what you can imagine. Everything He creates, Jannah and all that is beautiful. But in order for a mirror to work well, have you guys taken a long hot shower and you get out of the shower, what happens? It's foggy. Our heart can get foggy. Are we going to be able to reflect the beauty of Allah if our heart is foggy? No. Sometimes, have you ever left metal outside? It rusts. Can you see in a mirror that rusts? No. So if you have a foggy mirror or a rusty mirror or even a broken mirror, what do you have to do? You have to fix it. You have to polish it. You have to clean it up. And so we have to do the same thing. Our hearts are like a mirror that reflect the beauty of Allah. But we have to polish it. And what is the polish of that mirror? It's the remembrance of Allah. Okay? That doesn't mean we remember Allah all the time. Like sometimes we're playing and we're with our family and doing this and that. We might not remember Allah. But immediately afterwards, we remember Allah many times in the day. We say Subhanallah, Alhamdulillah, Allahu Akbar many times in the day. That's a really, really important thing for us to be able to do. To polish our mirrors, to have beautiful mirrors, right? And so as you guys come of age, right? As you guys are entering your own story, and you're going to make a lot of mistakes. I'm just letting you know, okay? You're going to make a lot of mistakes in life. But those mistakes are opportunities for you to learn. Get that heart straight. Polish that heart. Get that compass straight. Know which direction. Make sure your ship is fortified. You're going to go out into the ocean. You're going to have to do things. You're going to have to maybe live by yourself at some point. You're not going to have your parents holding your hand. You're going to have to deal with a lot of things in life. You need a strong ship. And the best way to have a strong ship is to look at other people who have sailed, who are sailing the ocean. One of those beautiful things, I used to live next to the ocean. And when I lived there, I used to go to a place and I could see people sailing. It was amazing to see one person guide a sailboat by themselves, right? It's a really cool experience. You guys are all sailors like that. We're all sailing through life. And we want to get to our destination. So make sure that you do that well, inshallah. So that was just a few thoughts from me. Any thoughts, questions, comments, concerns? Not really. I'll give you guys a minute to reflect and think. And I know you guys have been hearing a lot. What's something that you want to hear that someone hasn't addressed? Any questions that you guys have? When you guys were talking about identity, what stuck out to you? What's something that Ustad Anas mentioned that stuck out to you? LGBTQ stuff? So that's an interesting thing, right? Again, you have to consult your heart. You have to have a pure heart, though. A lot of these people are confused. They're very confused. And I hope Allah protects you from not being confused the way they are, right? And this is also really interesting. Actually, I want to, if you don't mind, you mentioned it, so I'll say something about this. Okay. What's the biggest problem? Um, do all of us make mistakes? Do all of us commit sins? Okay. Um, one of my teachers said something very beautiful. He said, "Don't judge someone because they sin differently than you. Don't judge someone because they sin differently than you." Right? You might notice someone sinning, right? You might notice someone is drinking something they're not supposed to be drinking, listening to something they're not supposed to be listening to, looking at something they're not supposed to be looking at. Okay? And as Muslims, sometimes we get very judgmental, right? And the other reaction is only God can judge me. But when you notice someone's committing a sin, you try to help them. You recognize that it's a sin, all of that. But are you going to judge that person? Because you commit sins as well. And people might not know it. So why are you judging them? And they're just sinning differently than you are, right? That's important. But this is important for us as Muslims. We don't define ourselves based on our sin. I don't, like, for example, let's say I backbite. It's a bad habit I have. And I know it's something that's a lot of middle schoolers struggle with. I'm saying, let's imagine. Alhamdulillah, I don't think I do it. Inshallah, Allah protects us from backbiting. Would I consider myself a backbiter? Is that how I would introduce myself? Be like, hi, assalamu alaikum. My name's Yusuf and I'm a backbiter. I'm an alcoholic. Is that how you introduce yourself to people? If you're sinning, be like, yeah, I can't stop stealing stuff from the store. I love to eat really unhealthy food. Is that how you introduce yourself to people? Your sin doesn't become your identity. What's your identity? What you believe, what you value. Your identity is I'm a Muslim. I'm an American. I'm Gen Z. I'm someone who's living through brain rot. I'm surviving Sunday school. Okay? You might define yourself as I am someone who belongs to the Indonesian American community, the Malaysian American community. I'm someone who loves to go to the masjid. That's your identity. How many of us would say, "Oh, my name is this, and I am a sinner"? That's not your identity. The problem with a lot of these people, right? This group of people, and there's many. I don't want to go into all the details, right? Is that they commit a sin. Okay? They commit a sin. Or they may want to commit a sin. How many of us are tempted by sin sometimes? Every single one of us, right? Okay? What do they do wrong? They make their identity that sin or the sin they want to commit. They're like, oh, I'm gay. I'm trans. I'm this and that. It's like, no, you're not. You're not. You're this person. You're hopefully not Ahmed. Hopefully like a Jerry or something. You're Jerry. Okay? You're John. You are a human being. Why are you defining yourself? But imagine, okay, let me tell you guys this, okay? How many of you have seen racism in your life? How many of you have experienced racism? Okay. May Allah protect us all from racism. How many of you have learned about the racism that African American people face? Is it worse than what we face generally? It's a lot worse. It's been worse. It's been bad, okay? Now imagine you told someone, I want you to think about this. Imagine you told someone, okay, that your skin color is a sin. Okay? No, just imagine. I'm just giving you. Yeah. I know this is crazy, but I want you to understand something. Imagine you told someone your skin color, the way you were born, the way Allah made you is a sin. But if you worship Allah enough, maybe He'll forgive you. How likely do you think that person would be able to be Muslim, to follow that religion? That literally tells them the way that you are made is a sin, but maybe Allah will forgive you. Do you think that would be very easy? Do you think, for example, an African American or a black person who's told that their skin color is a sin, but if you pray to God enough, He'll forgive you, do you think they'll be able to follow that religion? Okay? Now I want you to think about this. In our religion, we believe that this LGBT stuff and the things they do is a sin. Okay? Now, think about it. When we're doing da'wah, and we need to do da'wah to everyone. Okay? Even Fir'aun deserved some da'wah. These people deserve da'wah. When you tell them your lifestyle is a sin, what you do is a sin, How easy do you think it is for them to understand and appreciate and love and become Muslim? Almost impossible, right? So the first step is to show them that this is not who you are. You are defining yourself like that, but you don't have to. And then they'll understand that I'm not this. And then it'll be easier for them to understand Islam and appreciate Islam. If you that applies to us as well. You identity is really important. The way you define yourself and who you are. If you say that I'm a sinner, which we all are, but I don't have to identify as a sinner. I am a repentant sinner. I am someone who commits sins and I turn back to Allah. I am a Muslim. I'm someone who worships Allah. That's how you make it easy. If one of my teachers said, if someone's starving, doesn't have food on the table, is literally going hungry, and you go knock on their door and start telling them about Islam, will that be very effective? You'll be like, bro, I need food, man. Like, I'm good, man. I don't need to hear this. But if you tell them that, no, here, I brought you some food, okay? And I brought some food for your family. You're going to be taken care of. We'll take care of you. And you do that, and then you tell them about Islam, how much more likely do you think that they'll want to incline towards Islam? How much more do you think they'll want to be Muslim, right? So this is important and I know I'm speaking about other people, but this applies for yourself as well. That in order for you to be Muslim, it's really important that you make sure that these things are taken care of, that you're in the right space to be Muslim as well. Was that helpful? I don't know if that helps you understand. Because the thing is, I don't know if you interact with these people. You will at some point. This part of the ocean, you're going to sail into the ocean. You're going to interact with all kinds of people. You have to have a really strong moral compass. You need to be able to not judge these people, but also be able to show them where they've gone wrong and help guide them, inshallah. So, a few more thoughts. Any questions you have? Yeah.
You mentioned about how a lot about coming of age, and basically how youth, being this youthhood, is very important. Can you kind of introduce the idea of the 5 before 5? I know that one of the 5 before 5s is talking about youth, right? How can we kind of see that as an important role? I think people tend to see as youth as like reckless. You don't really do anything in your life. So, as a way of coming of age, how can we realize that youth is more important than we think it is?
Absolutely. The Prophet ﷺ, in a famous hadith that he mentioned, he said, take advantage of 5 before 5. One of them is health before sickness. Everyone will become sick at some point. Nobody's going to live forever, right? One of the things, free time before you become busy. And one of the things he mentioned was youth before old age. There are things you can do as a young person that elder people can't do, older people can't do. And something that I know everyone keeps saying, oh, you guys are the future. How many times have you heard that? You guys are the future, okay? I want you to stop thinking that you're the future, okay? You are the present. You guys are the present. There are things you can do that you can't even imagine that you can do. If you can work together and you're inspired and you're motivated, a lot of people don't realize. How many of you have heard of Malcolm X? How many of you have heard of Dr. Martin Luther King? Okay? You guys have heard these names. They were not even 40 when they were killed. Okay? And I know 40 seems really old to you guys right now, but it's not that old. It's like 20 years from where you guys are, maybe 30 years from less than 30 years from where you guys are. They were very young people that did so much. Okay? And there's many, many examples I can give. Do you guys know, let me give this example. Osama bin Zaid. Have you heard this name before? Osama bin Zaid was a young Sahabi. Yes. No. His father was a servant for the Prophet who became his adopted son. But Osama bin Zaid, he led the Muslim armies. He led Umar radiallahu anh in battle. He led all of these like really, really famous companions. Guess how old he was? He was 17 or 18 when he led armies. Okay? And I know you're like, oh, that's still 5 years down the line for me, right? Are you going to be ready to lead an army in 5 years? Yeah. Okay. Who said yeah? Who said yeah? I have a mission for you. There's this place called Gaza. We need some liberation there. Okay. So I'm gonna send you 5 years. Okay. Bismillah. Okay. And actually, this is a good. I'll tell you guys something that some of you might know about, some of you might not. You guys remember a few months ago there were these encampments in university campuses. Okay. Students protesting. Yeah, fights and stuff, but mostly largely peacefully protesting against the university supporting and giving money to this apartheid evil state called Israel, right, is not real. Um, and I actually got arrested. Okay, I was here at ACO. I got arrested. You guys are looking at a criminal. No, I'm kidding. I hope you guys don't think that. I got arrested. Okay, and it was a really, really intense experience. Most of the people that I was arrested with were 19, 20 years old. Okay, I'm not that old. Let's just look at it that way. I'm almost Gen Z. Are you guys Gen Z? You're Gen Alpha. Oh man. Okay, never mind. Okay, I'm like. Okay, 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 okay. So I'm no Gen Beta though. Okay, so you guys are like not even Zoomers. You're like Alpha. I'm like on the cusp of millennial and Gen Z. Some people consider me Gen Z. Some people you can guess how old I am. I'm not 30 yet. I'm 29. 29. Okay, so almost there. So what I'm trying to say is this though. Most of the kids I was with were 19, 20 years old, right? That's like not much time for you. Like it's very soon. I'm telling you, if you look at the civil rights movement, you know, we know about Dr. Martin Luther King, and I just said how he wasn't that old. But you know the people who are the foot soldiers of that movement, the people who are getting arrested, who are in the sit-ins in the lunch counters, who are on the buses for the freedom rides, all that stuff, they were like few years older than you. They're the ones that made history happen. So don't let people say that you're the future. No, you're the present. Okay, need to get your act together. This ship has to sail soon. You need to take some responsibility for yourself, if that makes sense. Okay. So anyway, I can keep going, but I think he has some more questions. So inshallah. That's a really good question. How many of you have phones? How many of you don't have a phone? Mashallah. Your parents are, mashallah, doing great. Okay. I personally believe, okay, and the science now, a lot of data to show this, that kids who don't get phones until 16 do way better. Like their mental health is better, like a lot better. So that doesn't mean you have to get rid of your phone, but just recognize that. Like try to, I call this Shaitan's handmaiden. I have two of them, okay? So it's even worse, okay? Shaitan's handmaiden, Satan's handmaiden. Think about this device of yours that you have, okay? There are sins that you could not commit before that you can now commit by yourself. Yeah, I mean, think about it. To bully people in the past, you had to actually go to school or somewhere to bully them. Now you can be a troll online and bully them. You want to backbite? Before you had to have other people to backbite with. Now you go on Reddit or YouTube or whatever, and then you can backbite all you want. There are sins of the eyes and the ears that you had to go out and commit. And now you can be at home and commit them. Okay? Yeah, Dajjal. I mean, this is a really, and Dajjal, okay, don't think Dajjal. Dajjal's going to be really smart. You know, all this AI. Exactly. No, I don't know if it's Dajjal, but you don't think Dajjal's going to use this? You don't think Dajjal's going to use AI and deepfakes and all that stuff? It doesn't say kafir, but it has Quran. I'm trying to protect myself, okay? So what's my point here, okay? Um, and I don't blame you guys, okay? How many of you guys live in like suburbs? Like how many of you live in the middle of the city? Most of you probably live in suburbs. If you want to walk anywhere, how much do you have to walk? Okay, not too bad. There are people, and I don't blame you. You live, yeah, driving, walking. I'm talking about walking. How many of you can walk to a store in less than 10 minutes? Okay, you guys are really lucky because that's not the case for me. How many of you can walk to school in less than 10 minutes? Okay, mashallah. Okay, maybe you guys already have it good. But how many of you have heard your parents say, "Oh, get off that device. You're sitting in your room all day. You're playing video games. You've heard that, right?" Um, I don't blame you because we've designed cities. How many of you have been to Malaysia or Indonesia? People can walk everywhere there. Have you guys seen this show on Netflix? It's called Old Enough. With these little Japanese kids, they're like 3, 4 years old. Yeah, and they go to the store by themselves and all this stuff. Okay? It's safe in Japan. Shh. No, I know. So that's what I'm saying. It's not like that. Okay, so what I'm trying to say is you guys have it really rough. It's not like that. And that's why I don't blame you for being at home. Like, until you're 16, you can't even drive. Like, you can't be with your friends. In the past, you just go outside and you had friends in neighborhood and all this stuff, right? But what I'm trying to say is this: you need to resist this, and you can use it to resist it. So, for example, I have a rule: I do not have conversations with my friends over text. Okay, text is there's a lot of things missed in communication, and it's just not going to be good. Okay, I sometimes will talk logistics, like, oh, let's meet up here or let's talk here, but I never have a conversation over text. You know what I do? I pick up my phone and I call. Okay? I know for Gen Z, Gen Alpha, that's like, oh my goodness, I have to call my friend. That exists, exactly, right? But you can call your friend, and every few months, like there are friends I have that I haven't talked to in months, and I call them and I talk for them half an hour, 1 hour, and it's the most refreshing thing. It makes me so happy. Instead of opening Instagram, I call a friend. Huh? I have a lot of friends. I have a lot of friends. But you can. But what I'm saying is have real connections with people. Like get off the device and connect with people. It's interesting that I know Ustad Anas might have mentioned this before. The the people around the Prophet, what do we call them? Sahaba. What does that mean? What does Sahaba mean? The companions, the friends, the homies. The homies. These are the homies of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Think about it. Think about it like this, okay? Do we call them his students? His disciples? Like they say disciples, students. We don't speak like that. We say these were his sahaba, these were his companions, these were his homeboys, okay? It's really important for us to have the same, right? You're up on the religion. The Prophet said, Maru'u ala dini khalili. You're on the religion of your friends. If your friend is Instagram, TikTok, influencer XYZ, Mr. Beast, you're going to be on his religion. Okay? You're going to be on the religion of, I don't know who else you guys know. Kendrick. Keep hearing Kendrick. You don't want to be. Kyrie Irving's okay. He's alright. You guys know Derrick Rose just became Muslim? I don't know if you guys know Derrick Rose. Yeah. Mashallah. Okay. Anyways. Chicago Bulls legend. Alhamdulillah. Anyways, do you have any other questions, or we can wrap up the show? Yeah. Okay, guys, it was really nice talking to you. I think I'm going to talk to you guys tomorrow about brain rot. Yes. That's going to be fun. Whole topic about brain rot. Inshallah.
All right, guys. Settle down. Inshallah, I'm gonna close it off. Inshallah. But once again, is there any questions left for? Settle down, guys. Shh. Is there any last questions for Sheikh Yusuf? Inshallah. For Ustad Yusuf. Shh. Quiet down, please. Thank you, guys. Thank you. All right. If there's not any questions for Sheikh, for Ustad Yusuf, inshallah, we're gonna close it off. Alhamdulillah. I think we've talked about a lot. You have a question? You'll get there soon. All right, inshallah, guys. Is any more questions? Any questions for Ustad Yusuf? Shh. Quiet down, guys. We're gonna close off, inshallah, soon. Any questions for him? Any questions? Inshallah. Shh. All right, inshallah. Alhamdulillah. I think we had amazing. Thank you so much, Ustad Yusuf, for this amazing talk. Is there any last statements you want to make for us, inshallah? Okay, inshallah. I know. Yeah. All right, guys. Thank you all for coming to this lecture today. Again, guys. Guys, all right, thank you guys for all coming for this lecture. Jazakallah khair. Sheikh Yusuf for his time and his knowledge. I think we get enough here today. Subhanaka wa bihamdika ashhadu an la ilaha illa anta astaghfiruka wa atubu ilaik. We're going to end off with Salatul Asr. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Wal 'asr inna al-insana lafi khusr illa alladhina amanu wa 'amilus solihati wa tawasaw bil haqqi wa tawasaw bis sabr. Jazakallah for coming through, inshallah. Our next session will be at 4 p.m. with Brother Hamza Abdullah, an ex-NFL pro at Highland 1, inshallah. So you guys are free to go. Jazakallah again once, Sheikh Ustad Yusuf.